G'day and welcome to Insights and Storytellings with me, Moon Willow. It's really lovely to have everybody on board and really feeling the shifts and changes in energy recently over the past couple of days. Yesterday evening I felt that there was like this huge shift, and there's a lot more light coming, feels like there's a lot more light coming in, and I had a similar experience today, but it's like it's building up and everything feels like it's intensifying. So I'm noticing that I'm getting a lot more dreams. I'm getting a lot more activation in my crown chakra and a buzzingness in my ear, which I actually, when I sat down to do this just now, I've got like a warm sensation in my right ear, which is quite weird. And it's like everything is getting brighter. But sometimes there is like a feeling or a need to dim that brightness down. It's almost like on a really bright day we put sunshades on so that we can see everything that's around us without damaging our eyes. And I have almost like a sense of that with that increased light, that it's almost, and vibrations, it's almost like it feels too bright and in a way scary, although I don't feel it's scary at the same time. It's like I'm walking around humming and feeling a lot lighter and brighter in myself. But there's also it's almost like there's that sense that this is too bright or things are going too well, and it's almost worried and looking for the darker elements or something to trip us up or something to go wrong. And I think that's sort of coming from previous experiences. And I know I've spoken in the past about having that familiarity with sort of living in stress and living in fear, and sort of almost like looking for that instead of really appreciating and just enjoying that lighter aspect. There's quite a strong possibility over the next sort of 9-10 days that there's going to be times when we've got those darker elements coming in, and it's almost like inciting a crash internally, as it were. But it's not so much not expecting it, but it's not looking for it. It's actually acknowledging what we're experiencing and just allowing that to settle through us. So I'm hoping this makes sense, but it's like the other day I was talking about how we speak to ourselves internally, or we have that unconscious or subconscious desire to create things that a world that we're familiar with. And if we're not familiar with the lightness, we're not familiar with everything being more vivid and more clear, that it's almost like we can bring our own veil down, we can cover up, because it's like putting those very dark sunglasses on. We feel like we're protecting ourselves, and in a way we are, but it's actually allowing ourselves to look properly at the same time. I'm hoping this is making sense. It's also with the things that are coming in, so the elements of feeling like we've got a buzzing in our ears, or we've got more vivid dreams. It's actually looking at that with curiosity instead of getting worried or stressed about it, but actually trying to sort of see beneath the surface, as it were, to see how or what that is giving us more information about. It's almost like this is the last push, and it's giving us the opportunity to do those last bits of work, to look at those other underlying things that we may be hiding from ourselves, that we inadvertently put out to the universe to manifest, and it becomes hard work. Whereas if we actually again bring it up and have a look at it, integrate it constantly, I know it feels like we're constantly doing this work, but it's like taking that next layer down and really stepping forward and through into a new frequency, a new way of manifesting lighter, brighter, higher vibrations, where we can feel more comfortable with other people, feel more comfortable with ourselves, without tripping us up in the future. I'm hoping this is all making sense, but we'll sort of see which chakra is. Oh, okay. So we've got carnelian and our sacral space. So yesterday I actually did 2 of these, and neither, as I was saying the other day, neither actually recorded all the way through. But what's making me smile tonight is that on both of those occasions yesterday, the carnelian came out. So it is very strongly, I feel very strongly that it is around how we create, and the type of world we're trying to create. So very much in our creative flow, and trusting our gut instinct as well. So when we have information come forward, when we notice things on social media or the mainstream media, if you're still following that, it's noticing that gut response to it, and really sensing into why you have that feeling sometimes, and how you can actually use that to inform the way that you want to walk forward, and using play as well, and really anything, even if it's quite dark or you're feeling lost, there is a way to alchemize that. There is a way to turn that into play, into something that is creative. Whether if it's that you want to scream, and you can turn that into, you can actually manifest or work through that by putting on a certain song or music that you can just vocalize to, that helps to actually bring out that underlying emotion, as the sacral area is very much about emotion and emotional flows. And from a very young age we're taught that and that keeps getting fed into, that certain emotions are not good, that we shouldn't experience them, we shouldn't present them to the world, we shouldn't shouldn't give voice to them. And by not giving voice to them, we push them down and we lose energy, and we can create blocks within our emotional flow. So we can actually, if we're not feeling safe to do so, if we don't feel like it's an appropriate space that we're in to shout, to scream, that we can actually use music. We can be quite creative at the way that we let go of that built up energy within and built up emotional distress, and let that out in a way that feels more safe for us to do so. But one of the things I find with things like anger and grief and envy and all those emotions that are considered negative, that actually if we look behind that emotion, we can actually have more information about how we're feeling. There'll be a reason why we feel envy towards someone, that it feels like there's something missing in our lives. But instead of focusing on that envy or focusing on that other person who seems to have what we want, is actually acknowledging that we would like that, and that there is a way to bring that in. If we're feeling angry towards someone, then it's a case of actually looking behind that emotion and trying to see what it is that is creating that anger. Because invariably it has something to do with something that we're missing, or we feel like we're not being heard, that we're not able to express ourselves clearly. But there is a way that we can alchemize that. There is a way that we can become more creative in actually bringing that through for us as well. And it might be sort of like in the case of anger, it might be a case of, this is really not fitting well for me. I need to walk away, and giving yourself permission to do so at the same time. So on that note, we'll see what cards come out. So if you could, sorry, itchy nose. If you could just focus on the cards for me. Split. Oh, okay. I'll take. They seem to want to play. Okay, so the cards today are fish, mouse, and clouds. So the fish normally in this means money and finances, but I really feel that the fish is around energy and how we're losing energy. So in our sacral spaces is our, as I say, our creative, full of creativity, and there is a lot of energy in there, and it can inform us of how we're feeling, and when we're looking at things, how we emotionally resonate to that, and go by gut instincts. But as I was saying, if we are trying to only feel the lighter energies, the sort of the joy, the bliss, that everything's okay, we're only listening to part of the story. And invariably, we're actually pushing down those darker energies, and we're using a lot of emotions. Sorry, we're pushing down those emotions, and we're losing a lot of energy to do so. So we're becoming out of balance, and it is very much that balancing act. But it's at the same time, it's really knowing our energetic boundaries as well. So as things are coming in, instead of impacting us, giving us a gut punch, which can wind us, and that takes more energy to actually come round from that, you're keeping it at a bay slightly, so that you can actually discern whether you want that to impact you or not. And we have a choice in that. We always have choice. We always have free will. But there's a lot of pressure to not accept that, to put it outside of us, externalize that. But again, that's giving away energy at the same time. And that sort of, for me, comes in with the mouse. So the mouse is a robber mouse, and I really feel that within this particular storytelling, that we're given an incredible opportunity at the moment with the increase in light and the increase of that vibrational energy, to actually absorb that and use it and fund more of our creative space and our ability to alchemize. But again, we need to really integrate and fully accept all sides of ourselves, the masculine, the feminine, the negative, the positive, the shadow, the light. All of it belongs to us, and if we try and put any of it outside, again, we're giving away energy. So it's actually being very aware of all aspects of ourselves and how we are manifesting as well. It's like going back to what I was saying the other day about how we're speaking to ourselves and how that creates the universe, creates the world that we're walking in, and the universe that we're living in, and our experiences. That within that, I'm losing my train of thought. I'm very sorry. If we actually allow it all in there, that can actually help gain more energy, because we're fully absorbing all of it. Yeah, and I'm really intrigued because this last card is clouded thoughts, and it is very much what's happening to me at this moment, is that I'm feeling like I've got something on the tip of my tongue that needs to come through, but those the clouds are really making it difficult. And I think that goes back to what I was saying earlier about the sunglasses, is that there is that temptation to, sometimes it feels like it's too good, that things are too bright, things are going too well, and we can actually cloud our thoughts and cloud what's coming through, because we're looking for that negative, we're looking for things to go wrong. So it's very much having that real sense that within our sacral space, we have got a lot of energy, and we've got so much energy that we can manifest exactly the type of world we want to live in. And also taking on board that things are coming in and it's what we're requesting, but it may be more, it may have an underlying condition. It's almost like we put conditions on things to go right, that we can only make money if we're killing ourselves, if we're working too hard. It's like, it's almost like money can't come easily to you. There has to be a condition to it, and we need to be thankful that it's actually flowing in. And it's that thought that actually, why does it have to be with conditions? Why does it have to be with strings attached? And it's within those strings attached that we're losing more energy as well. So it's being really clear, and when we're trying to create the flow that we're walking into, it's being clear that we're not accidentally putting conditions onto it and losing energy in that way. It doesn't have to be difficult. It can actually flow quite nicely. There is no rule book really for the way that we live our lives, but somehow we put those conditions on. We're taught to put conditions on, and that's where we do lose energy, and we end up feeling tired, and that's when we can end up being wobbled. And we can then inadvertently allow our subconscious or unconscious mind to actually continue creating things to come in, but always with attachments, always with conditions. So it's taking this opportunity to really sit into our sacral space and have a look at the world that we are co-creating with the universe, and are we happy with that, or do we want to tweak it? That we are able to clear those clouds away, that we can actually use that higher frequency, that lightness that's coming in, to actually clear away the internal clouds, clear away the what ifs. Okay, that's come in, but there's going to be a negative response to it, and it doesn't have to be, is what's coming through. And we can actually play with it and and just have that play around it and have that sort of alchemization of moving forward in a more creative way, but really understanding that we have that power and we have the emotional fortitude to actually flow into this new age, flow into the 21st of December, into that higher frequency without having conditions. There doesn't need to be conditions. That mouse energy that is taking away and nibbling at our extremities, it doesn't have to impact us. It doesn't have to take away from our power base, from really truly trusting our gut. And sometimes we won't understand why at the time that we have that gut response, but really trusting it, not allowing our thought process to get in the way of that, but actually witnessing it and working out how to move forward. And it's as that thought process comes in and starts doubting, that is doubting Thomas, that is that cloudiness that's come up in these cards. And we have got the ability to actually change that we can actually move those clouds back and actually see a lighter and brighter way forward. And the other side of clouds as well, that I've just been reminded of, is that can sometimes bring rain, but also can bring about a rainbow. So look for the rainbows and not for the stormy clouds. So I'm hoping that this is making sense to people out there. I'm going to see which energy sound or vocalization, whatever we want to call it, I never know, comes through. Thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate it. With a bit of luck, I'll be able to actually upload this one and do one again tomorrow. But just really appreciate that lightness that is here. There does not have to be a negative reaction to it, that actually we can just continue building on that energy that's coming through. We don't have to, with the increase in dreams or the inability to sleep all the way through, it's actually looking at that curiously as well. And if you're tired, just go back to bed. I know that's not that easy. I wish I could today, but I know that I can't. But it's really letting yourself off the hook, really noticing where you're losing that extra energy, that actually by worrying or thinking that there is conditions to things, that actually that can rob us of that pure bliss that is coming through from that higher frequency. And by allowing that to filter through, that can actually give us that increase in energy. So on that note, take care of yourselves, and I love you all. Take care. Bye.